Well, actually, this was a big surprise. This not. We arrived and the charging session had ended prematurely with an end state of...
I do have a note here for service, but no release date. I would be weary to give you the full green light, of course, for heading on over there.
Okay. Unfortunately, this is probably going to cost us one charging stop. So the record is going to be a little less ambitious than we wanted it to be. Thank you to our sponsors for this video, Ziri Electromotive, Pionix and S44. Ziri Electromotive is the only Indian EV charging startup with a proprietary full technology stack, where all products are being built in India from the ground up, conforming to global standards. Learn more at ziriem.com. This video is also brought to you by Pionix. Pionix provides a safe, versatile and highly reliable charger firmware. Distinguished through its open source core, it ensures worldwide compatibility with all electric vehicles and charging station management systems. Learn more at pionix.com. This video is also brought to you by S44 Energy. Based in the US and Germany, S44 Energy specializes in custom e-mobility software focused in EV charging. They are the original author of the open source OCPP 2.0.1 charging station management system Citrine OS, which has since become a Linux Foundation energy project. In one of their recent projects, they assisted a major charge point operator in establishing a proprietary charge point management solution and developed their mobile application for EV drivers. Learn more at s44.team. Hey everyone! You join us here in the Lucid Air on the way to New York. This is the start of our trip. This is the first leg. And since we're spending a lot of time in the car, we wanted to use this time to introduce ourselves and tell you a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing it. So, Julius, why don't you start and introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Julius. I'm based usually in Munich, Germany. And I've been working in the EV industry since 2018. At the moment, the driver of the car here. And I have started my journey in e-mobility at a company that makes a white label solution for public charging. So it's everything about finding charging stations, how you can access for them and pay for them. But based in Germany, so our product works more about Europe. It's a company called Digital Charging Solutions, and that's where I also met Yannick. And together with Yannick, I've been writing Electric Avenue, our industry expert newsletter, since 2 years. So we have actually our anniversary. And head over to Yannick, because at the moment we're in the US, and that's where Yannick is based.
Yeah, I'm Yannick. I've been in e-mobility since 2017. Started as an intern for Faraday and BMW, and then worked at DCS in Munich with Julius. And now since 2019 I live in California, and I've worked at Lucid Motors, and at the moment I work at Pionix. And I'm a big fan of EVs. And when Julius told me that he's coming to visit this summer, I had an idea to do this trip. So what we're doing is a cannonball trip. Julius, what is traditionally a cannonball? What do you think of when you hear the word cannonball?
Cannonball, I also needed to Google what it is exactly. The cannonball is basically a Pacific to Atlantic Ocean road trip. So it's either started in Los Angeles and finished in New York, or vice versa. But let Yannick tell more about what we do specifically for an e-cannonball, because we do a modification, because we're doing an electric car, and usually it's done in an ICE vehicle, so a internal combustion engine vehicle.
Yeah, so
it's about speed, but Yannick has a different idea of it.
Yeah, so usually the gas cars race from coast to coast. They modify their cars to fit more gasoline in the tank, and they drive way beyond the speed limit. They have spotter cars to check for police. We're not going to do any of that. Those type of records exists with EVs already. I think there was one a couple years ago with the Tesla Model S. That was, I think, 42 hours and 17 minutes, including charging. And then there's one with Porsche Taycan that's been set by Kyle from Out of Spec, which is the fastest one with this CCS vehicle that cannot use the Tesla charging network. But there's other categories people can do if you want to stay within the legal limits of the road. So Kia did one a couple years ago with the EV6, where they crossed the country with the fastest charging time. So that's a category of record that they set with the Guinness Book of World Records at the time. That has been beaten since by a Porsche Taycan. And so I was like following all these different records, and I thought of, is there another category that we can do? And I ran some numbers, and obviously we're in the Lucid Air right now here, which is a super capable EV with up to 520 miles of range, depending on the configuration. So I thought, why don't we try and set a record for LA to New York on the famous Cannonball route from the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach to Red Bull Garage in Manhattan, but we focus on efficiency and on the least number of charging stops. So that's what we're doing. That's why we rented this Lucid Air Grand Touring, and we're on our first leg right now. Yet to be seen how many stops we will actually need, but yeah, where we at, Julius?
So we started in Portofino in Los Angeles. That's where we also resetted the Trip A meter. You can see that we fully charged the car shortly before that. And since the trip start, we have had efficiency of 4 miles per kilowatt hour. You can see we have used 87 kilowatt hours so far. And when you look at the navigation system, that's the stop we're heading towards. It's really ambitious. You can see we have 1 hour to drive still with 56 miles. And when you look at the current state of charge, it's 17 in our route calculation. Big shout out to our better route planner here. They're really accurate. And at the moment we calculate with 2% remaining state of charge at arrival. And yeah, 56 kilometers to drive, 56 miles to drive, and 75 miles is the estimated range of the Lucid. We're cruising with about 60 miles per hour. We have been a little bit higher previously, but now we decreased a little bit to increase our efficiency. And yeah, we also made our reset in between because we, until Las Vegas, we had to climb quite some altitude. And since then we have been cruising with 4.7 miles per hour.
Yeah, we're surprisingly efficient because obviously we rented this car. We're not sponsored by Lucid or anything, and we were able to get the Grand Touring, which is the car with the longest range and the biggest battery, but we only got one with 21-inch rims with Pirelli all-season tires. So this is actually not the most efficient configuration you can get for the Lucid Air. Yes. There is a 19-inch wheel set with aero wheels, which would be more efficient, but we are going to do our best with the configuration that we have.
Yeah. And maybe how are we cruising? Also important. It has at the moment 160 degrees Fahrenheit outside.
It's very hot.
It's equivalent of 40 degrees Celsius and
so the heat is really
you can feel that really, like our hats are
glass.
Yeah, you can feel it. It's nicer if you lay down actually in the co-passenger seat.
Yeah.
So we have the AC running, not on the lowest temperature, but still like comfortable.
Yeah, we're comfortable at 78, which is about almost a 30 Fahrenheit degree difference in temperature between outside and inside.
Yeah. What else did we do to increase our efficiency? Yesterday evening we checked the tires. Yeah, we inflated them to 46.
46 cold, yeah.
Yeah, cold. And now you can see it's hot outside, and the pressure has been increasing. Besides that, we haven't done any modifications at the car, so it's the usual Lucid Air Grand Touring that we're using.
Yep.
Maybe what is our motivation? What is your personal motivation to do the e-cannonball? Set the record.
Well, I thought it would be great to showcase how far we've come with EV technology. The Lucid Air is an amazing car, super efficient, also super comfortable. Like, we're really traveling in style. We use the highway steering assist. We have so much legroom, really nice. And yeah, as you can see, each stop is like 400 miles in between, like 6 hours of driving or so. So we already kind of hit our bio limit. We had to do a kind of toilet stop on the way already.
We did.
So yeah, for me the motivation is to showcase EV technology. How about you, Julius?
Yeah, it's about following your curiosity. It's always interesting to explore EV charging industry and see how far we have come so far. For me, it's new. I haven't been to the US driving EV yet. I did a short trip before that in the US previous week, but now we are really on the long distance trip. and really exploring how far can you go with the EV. And certainly we will see also more efficiency in other vehicle segments besides the premium luxury segment. That's where usually new technology is launched first,
Yep.
and then cascaded downwards to more, say, mass cars. And also it's really showcasing about how far we have come and making long distance trip with electric cars.
Possible, even if you're not a Tesla driver and if you can't use the Tesla supercharger network.
And that's really, really important. What we want to explore here is not only the vehicle must be efficient and has a good range, but we also need the charging infrastructure, because that's certainly no matter what car you're using, you will share the same charging infrastructure.
Yep.
And we're also going to report on that, how our experience is along the trip.
That's one of the big challenges, really, besides the battery and the efficiency, will be the charging infrastructure. So we are constantly checking what stations are along the route and how far we can make it. We're already pushing the car a little bit more than even a better route planner suggested. So there's like 40 miles between the station that we were supposed to go to and the one that we're going to now.
Yeah. And I think that's also a key part. We don't know yet how to expect. We did some rough planning, but in the end, it's not only about the range of the vehicle, but also that you have a dense network of infrastructure, because it might be that we have only like 40 miles left, but the next station is in 60 or 80 miles, and that might lead to us having a better record or less good record.
We need the chargers that we do hit to be reliably working. We don't have to charge super fast necessarily, because we are not going for speed, but we need them to work with the range that we arrive, or within the range that we arrive with. Otherwise we add additional charging stops and then the record gets worse. Okay, welcome back. We are 2.3 miles from our first charging stop in Washington, Utah, near St. George. So what's going on, Julius?
We have been driven so far 404 miles, with an average of 4 miles per kilowatt hour. Used 100 kilowatt hour from the battery. And we have a remaining state of charge, or 3% state of charge left. So 1% better than a better route planner forecasted. So we have a little bit of buffer. We're confident.
Yeah, it looks like we can get about 410 miles of range out of the Lucid Air Grand Touring here on the 21-inch wheels in today's conditions, with 103 Fahrenheit. AC running, 2 people and luggage in the car. And now we're exiting here, and this charging stop is an Electrify America station. I think it's at a Walmart Supercenter.
Yes, and also definitely time for a longer break, because we also want to get some lunch. We haven't had a proper breakfast, only on the go in the car. So certainly, while we want to recharge to almost 100%, we will also get some time to relax, eat, and get the car going for the next leg.
Yep, we've been in the car for over 7 hours now.
With a small bio break.
And this is
probably 10 minutes.
Yeah, so we've driven about 7 hours on one charge.
Okay. Let's see. Get a port that port open. Get the connector in. And now let's see if we have plug and charge going.
Connecting to vehicle.
Okay, we're waiting. Now it says processing payment. That looks good.
Authorized.
That means
Perfect.
what do we have going on here?
Plug and charge is working on this car.
And can you explain our viewers what is exactly plug and charge?
So plug and charge means the vehicle is tied to a charging contract that is registered in Electrify America's system. And there's a contract certificate that is stored in the car, so the car manufacturer can wirelessly install that in the car. And the charger can read that over the cable and knows which contract to bill for the charging session. So we don't need to use a credit card or identify ourselves otherwise. So as you can see here, it says welcome driver, and you're on the Lucid Air charging plan. Here on the charging screen we can see exactly the same information. We can also stop charging, and we can set the charging limit. So we're going to leave that at 100%.
Right. Yeah. So I think nothing more to see here. We're now heading out to get some lunch.
Well-deserved lunch after 7 hours.
Yes. And then see you on the next leg. And
we still have to plan our next charging stop when we get back.
That's true. But we have come really far, and it worked on first try. So really good. That's good news.
Got back. And there was another Lucid charging here in the middle of nowhere in Utah.
So 2 Lucids besides each other.
Which was a big surprise. But, well, actually this was a big surprise, this not. We arrived and the charging session had ended prematurely with an end state of charge of 66% after 33 minutes. Also the time zone is set wrong.
idling fee.
Yeah, and the time zone is set wrong. I think it's like 7 p.m. Anyways, this is going to cost us some time now.
So we need to unplug.
So we have to unplug and restart the charging session.
Which is a really, like, if we would have been driven for time, that would be really painful for us. But no, guys, we just are at the finish of our first charging stop. We're trying to get the car down in temperature because it's so hot outside. So you can see at the moment, and that has been a problem for us. We have 127 degrees Fahrenheit. It's above 50 degrees Celsius. I'm not quite sure if the car is recording that correctly, but it's really hot outside.
It's super hot in this parking lot. Yeah, I think the charging session broke off at 70-something%.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long have we been here now, another 45 minutes or so?
So it's 1 hour and 45 minutes?
Or maybe even longer.
Or longer, 2 hours.
Yeah. And we added another 20% or so, but now it's going very, very slow. It's charging at 13 kilowatts, and I'm guessing the AC is using a couple of kilowatts right now to cool down the car.
Correct.
So we decided, technically we should charge till like closer to 98% to make it to the station that we actually want to make it to.
Yeah.
But I think we're just going to call it here, unplug, get on the road, and then see how far we make it.
The problem is also that we might need more energy now because it's like 3:30 p.m. and the sun is so hot. So we don't want to get completely sweaty to the next stop because we need to drive another like 30 plus hours. So we don't want to get totally wasted. And also there's a waiting line, and we had an Ioniq 5 waiting behind us, a VW ID4,
and there was
VW ID4, and then even more.
There's a Cadillac Lyric here. There was an EQS behind next to us, and there's another Ioniq 5 driving by. So there's a lot of EVs in Washington, Utah,
and a Lucid. So we plug out now, and then we are ready to head off.
We've been driving steady 65 miles an hour. On the last leg, on the final stretch, we sometimes drove a little bit slower. And then we also increased our comfort a little bit. The temperatures outside have come down to 93. and we went down from around 78 to 74 in the climate control. But we've also had to climb some heights.
Yeah.
So all those factors contributed to the lower efficiency on this stretch.
Yeah, definitely. So if you look at the overall consumption, we had 3.9, and the last stretch since our last charging session was 3.7.
Hey guys, so we're still on the second leg of the trip. We're about 12 miles away from Grand Junction, Colorado, where we're going to charge at a Volvo Starbucks charge point station. And we have about 14 miles of range left on the Lucid Air. So that we're down to the last 2-3% of state of charge. Unfortunately, at the first charging stop, we couldn't charge past 93-94%. And we really could have used that extra range now. So we're trying to conserve energy. We turned off the air condition. We're driving pretty slow right now at 52 miles an hour. Yeah. In order to ensure that we can make it there, and then we can charge and have a late dinner at 11:15 p.m. Colorado time.
Yeah. Okay guys, we are approaching the charging station, and we have, as you can see, a warning already, 1%. Let's check in distance.
And now it's at 0%.
So 3 miles, 0%. And we're rolling in.
We're 0.2 miles from the Starbucks Volvo fast charger in Grand Junction, Colorado.
So this needs to work, otherwise we have a big problem. We made it. Volvo Starbucks Corporation, also interesting. And interesting, I think all the same units.
Okay, let's use the charge point app. We're at DC3. Charge point.
So we now take the charge point app, because the last time we used Electrify America and we don't have the remote access to the Lucid Air. So once the charging was interrupted, we were having lunch and we didn't get notified. And this time we want to use the charge point app.
So we can remotely monitor the session.
Exactly.
Okay. We
then
just
we get a notification.
authorized. I hope the cable is long enough.
Oh. Okay.
Not long enough.
Not long enough.
Can you hold this for a second?
Yes, I hold it. Got the cable here. Need to move the vehicle closer to reach it. It's nice units for further. Yeah.
Is that enough?
You can go a little bit
more?
further. Yeah, we have enough. Yes. Okay, stop.
Okay.
And now open the charge point. Also, maybe to consider these blockers.
Wheel
stops are supposed to protect the chargers, but with the cables, it's getting quite close actually.
Yes, we made it.
It's plugged in. No, not charging. Okay, it's charging. We made it. We made it.
Nice work.
That was really close. 0% state of charge.
Wow, we're ramping up.
Ramping up.
Really up. Pretty nicely.
But I think we will not hit the full speed of the Lucid.
No.
Because those charge point units can do a max, if they're not shared, with 125.
Yeah. They're 62.5 kilowatts each, and 2 can pair up for 125.
Yeah.
Let's see our trip information. So we did 784 miles with 1 charge stop, and we didn't even charge till 100%.
93 or 94% state of charge.
Something like that, yeah, I think 93.
You see, currently the vehicle is charging with 120 kilowatt, and it's also touchscreen. So we pay 45 cents per kilowatt hour,
and once we stop charging, so no energy is flowing into the vehicle anymore, there is a blocking fee or an idle fee, or you like to call it, and this applies 15 minutes after charging stop. So once energy stops flowing into the vehicle, we have 15 minutes to move the car. And now we have the information about the currently ongoing process of the charging session via the app. So we can monitor that from the restaurant. Here it says at 125 kilowatt max, and if another vehicle would come, we would share that power, but I'm confident that we're not going to share that. Oh, and tax information. We also have the current applied costs based on the energy that is delivered, the charging time and the current charging power, and also the time until the car has been charged to 100% state of charge. Also quite helpful. We have in the app as well the currently ongoing session with 5% state of charge. You can see the nice charging curve, and as well the costs as we saw it on screen, and the estimated range that we added.
It is midnight now.
And
This was a flawless charging session. We're at 95% SOC.
95. We are still pulling 30 kilowatts.
We added almost 110 kilowatt hours.
Wow.
And paid 53.50. Here's the charging curve.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to try to charge till 99 or 100% here. And then continue on.
Same information. 53 energy.
This is like slightly ahead.
Slightly ahead. I think this one updates the app every 30 seconds.
Every 30 seconds, yeah.
And we've been charging for 1 hour and 18 minutes. So again, usually you wouldn't charge until 95% state of charge. Usually you try to go to 80% and then you continue your ride. But because we want to break or set a high benchmark, or low benchmark rather, low number of charging stops, crossing from Los Angeles until New York, we try to go up until like 99% basically, maybe a little bit less. Depends always a little bit on the next charging stop because infrastructure is not that dense. So sometimes it's not worth it to go higher state of charge. We're just losing time then.
Yep, making every stop count.
And anything we can add about the Volvo Starbucks Corporation?
I think they built out a number of stations between Portland, Oregon and Denver, Colorado. So I guess we hit the Colorado side of that trail. From what we see in the charge point app, it looks like Volvo Cars USA owns these stations and sets the pricing on them. And then probably Starbucks serves as the site host and ChargePoint as the operator and hardware and software provider.
Yeah, we can also see some commercials running, Volvo Car USA and Starbucks commercials.
But so far, I'm pretty happy with these stations. I mean, 125 kilowatt, if you do get a pair for yourself, is pretty good. And they honestly, in my experience, these units tend to be more reliable than the Electrify America units.
Yeah,
that was our experience. We're in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Not quite past Denver yet, and we're heading for the Holiday Inn Express. We drove around 90 miles since the ChargePoint charging station the Volvo one that we showed in the last video. And we're gonna sleep here tonight and then continue the trip on tomorrow. We're not gonna charge overnight. We're gonna charge probably somewhere past Denver tomorrow. All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Hello guys, we just stopped at a rest stop because we were getting our second morning coffee, and up until now we have been driving since our last charge. That was the second charging stop. We drove 169 miles and we have currently a state of charge of 45%, so we don't need to charge yet, but we need to take a bio break. And where are we, Yannick? We have a special stop here.
We're in Copper, Colorado, which you just pointed out because you're a big ski fan.
I am.
Near Vail, Colorado. And when looking for possible stops, we found out that there's actually a Tesla Supercharger here that's also open to non-Teslas with the MagicDock, the frontage road one. And when we pulled up here, we saw that they're actually V4 Superchargers. So we haven't seen a lot of them yet, and I actually have never seen one with a MagicDock. So let's go check them out.
Yes.
It's the
With
V4
the longer
post.
cables.
I think they're a little bit taller than the V3s.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4", 192, so roughly my height.
Yeah.
You can't see through them anymore. It's 46 cents a kilowatt hour. I can actually try to unlock this one. Press the button for 2 seconds, then push the handle into the dock and allow it to detach.
Let's do it.
1, 2.
Awesome.
Here's the CCS1 connector.
So now how you imagine it, there's this is the adapter, and that is locked because we unlocked through the app. That would usually go into a Tesla, an ACS, and this is the CCS1, which has been used by most automakers until now.
Yep.
And many are switching to an ACS.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything else to note?
I don't think so. We're not going to charge here because it would be an extra stop. So we're going to max out this charge and go past Denver. Welcome back, guys. You join us here on our third leg of the trip. So since we charged at that Volvo Starbucks location late on Friday evening, we did 418.5 miles. We used 100 kilowatt hours. I think we charged to 94% at that charger.
Yes.
And we are 2 miles away from the Julesburg, Colorado charging station that we're trying to hit. This was super ambitious. Right now, we're already getting the battery critically low alerts. We have 4 miles of range predicted left and 1% state of charge. So Julius, what did we have to do to actually
come that far?
Yeah, come this far.
So for a long time, we had one advantage. It went downwards. We were descending to Denver. And
we came from Vail, Colorado, which was like almost 10,000 feet. Or?
Yeah, and our highest point, we had like 3,000 meters of height. So a lot of elevation.
10,000 feet, yeah.
And first we had a truck that we were able to follow along, which had was driving with 75 miles per hour. It was really good for a long time. But at some point we needed to do more efficiency measurements, and the first thing we decreased the speed to now 50 miles per hour.
Yeah, we did that for about 20 miles now, and
exactly.
You can see the efficiency went up a lot. We did 5.2 miles per kilowatt hour the last 20 miles.
Yeah, and what we did now the last 5 minutes was we turned off the AC.
Yeah, actually the car kind of turned it off for us.
Yeah, exactly, because we get into
1%.
this battery critical low level.
But what we're looking for here is a single FreeWire battery-powered fast charger at this very rural Conoco gas station. According to PlugShare, it did work yesterday for Rivian, gave them 134 kilowatts. So we hope A, this station is actually here, B, it's available, and C, it gives us the energy that we need to get out of here within a reasonable time frame.
And so now we jump to 0% state of charge.
So now we're at 0.
Really low.
And we're just pulling into the gas station. We have to circle around to find the FreeWire.
So we still have full power in Lucid. It didn't throttle the power output yet.
Yeah, we didn't enter turtle mode.
So now I hope it's free and we can find it.
There it is.
There it is in the back.
And it's available. Okay, I hope it works. Let's check out the EVconnect app. So let's find the station. Here is the wagon wheel Conoco in Julesburg. Let's use connector 1.
Is that on left?
45 cents a kilowatt hour. Begin charge. Let's use Apple Pay. Done. Submitting payment information. Connecting. Please ensure your car is plugged in. We cannot ensure that because we are waiting for the connector to unlock. Maybe you have to press the button.
Ah,
There we go.
there it is.
But I think this fits. Okay. Made a connection.
Move to the station, have a look. How's it going? It's preparing, so it does the handshake between we have the handshake going on between the charger and the vehicle, where information is exchanged, and
The car says we're charging.
Yes, we're charging. Current power, we're ramping up. 14, 15, 18, 19, 23 kilowatt. So we get going. And again, a big, nice interface at the charger itself. Again, we see energy delivered, the current power, vehicle battery. Now we had 1%, we had really 0% state of charge transmitted.
Wow.
And the current ongoing costs. What does it tell us?
Oh wow, it looks like we're stuck at 45 kilowatts.
Oh no. Shit. So the problem, what is the FreeWire boost chargers? How do they work?
So the FreeWire boost chargers have a really big battery inside the charger. I forgot what the exact capacity is, but I think it's over 100 kilowatt hours. So what they do is you can hook them up to a relatively low-powered electricity supply, you know, whatever you have available in like a rural area like this. It doesn't look like this, you know, gas station has a big grid connection, and the charger can trickle charge its battery, and then when the car pulls up, it can provide, I think these provide either up to 125 kilowatts or up to 150 kilowatts, however long the battery lasts. So I don't know if this means the battery state of charge is low, or if this is kind of the feed-through power.
But this means now we have a really low charging power.
Yep. You can see, does it show us somewhere what the FreeWire state of charge is? Which kind of charger? Okay, is this the only FAQ? Just brands and connector type, okay.
We maybe need to have...
Okay. Well, this could potentially be a 3-hour lunch break then.
3-hour lunch break. What do we have on the... say here, we have max power output 150 kilowatt. Does it tell us something about the battery?
Oh, I know why. This one is maximum 500 volt DC output, so we are limited by the boost charger in the Lucid Air. Because the Lucid Air is a 800 volt battery platform, and this charger puts out only 500 volts, so the Lucid Air needs to boost the voltage up, and it's limited of doing that up to 45 kilowatts.
That's the reason why we avoided Tesla up until now, because there we would have the same. They have as well 400, 500 volt output power.
So
shit.
Yeah, it looks like we're sacrificing some time, but distance-wise, for our record, this was the best charger to go to. Most stations nowadays support up to 1,000 volts.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you have a station that can output above 50 kilowatts, but is limited to 500 volts.
Yeah.
It's mainly really these FreeWire stations, and they even have, I think they have 2 models, one that's higher voltage. So,
but that's a problem. Like from a user perspective, even we who haven't really we are not really knowledgeable about EV charging, we didn't expect that at the FreeWire station, and we also don't get this information, I think, displayed somewhere. We're usually looking at the stations in PlugShare. And also calculate with a better route planner, and this information wasn't considered.
Yeah, no, I don't think PlugShare collects that kind of data. But interestingly, the description in PlugShare gives us more specs about the charger. So it's up to 150 kilowatts for a single user or 75 kilowatts per plug. And then the unit contains a local battery storage of 160 kilowatt hours. Once depleted, charge speeds will drop to 24 kilowatts. So we're getting more than that, which means the battery still has capacity, but we are limited by the voltage, which PlugShare does not highlight.
We have currently power conservation mode, and power may be temporarily reduced, showing on the screen. No, it's still going on. But the session is still available, so what we will do is we try to restart another charging session.
Yeah.
And one person stays with the vehicle to check that it's working, and the other one gets the dinner or lunch.
The lesson learned here is the EV Connect app didn't give us a good update about the charging session ending.
Yeah.
We just checked the EV Connect app and it said that the session was still going, but the data hadn't been updated in 10 minutes. And then we went out of the session monitoring screen and went into the map screen, and we saw that both connectors for this station said available. So that gave us a hint that the session might have ended. And then we came back. And this is really unfortunate because we wanted to rely on this station working and go over there and have lunch.
Yeah. And another note, like how could you improve that? As a user, it would really good. We know that there may be some problems at the moment here with charging infrastructure in the US. Ideally, the operator with whom app we started the charging session could have sent a notification that there's a problem, maybe even explaining what is the problem exactly, and that we should check maybe the charging session on the location, but they didn't give us any information. We just found out by doing a proactive check, basically.
Yeah.
One more side note that was quite interesting for us, when we went in and talked to the gas station operator, they told us this charging station is operated by the utility actually, and when they have a storm and then there's, for example, the grid connection has a problem, the charger can get to an offline mode and is there for 2 weeks. So they have had plenty of people coming in and being stranded, and there's not a lot of alternatives around here. So again, really big topic for range anxiety.
Yep. All right.
With that, should we check starting another charging session?
Yes.
So quick update from the station. We have tried it on the left side, it didn't work. We tried it on the right side, it didn't work. So the FreeWire station is probably unable to cope with the heat.
It's 117 Fahrenheit in the car right now. So this station and the battery doesn't seem to be designed to handle that.
Yeah.
Let's jump in the car and talk about what we're doing next. So we're at 15%. We're having a lot of trouble because it's 117. The GoPro shut down from the heat. We just tried to film the same video with the phone and it shut down due to the heat. So unfortunately, this is probably going to cost us one charging stop. So the record is going to be a little less ambitious than we wanted it to be.
We aimed for 6 charging stations and
now we're probably going to do 7.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of charging infrastructure right now in the US. That was part of what we wanted to see with the trip as well.
Yeah.
And now we were just really lucky that we even got 15%, because the next charge...
Sorry for the quick interruption, even the phone is having problem with the heat. So Yannick was just telling that we got even at least 15%, because otherwise we would have been stranded here.
Yep.
And now we have the opportunity to go to the next stop, the next charging station, which is 31 miles, 27 minutes.
So we're going to go there now. That's in Ogallala, Nebraska. It's an Electrify America station at a Walmart. So we'll see you guys there.
Since we're going.
Preconditioned the battery on this one since we had some energy to spare. So we'll see if we can get a fast charging curve on the Lucid Air. We have to pick the ones that can do 350.
I think
this is one.
Sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is.
And this is also the ABB stations, which on our first charging stop, these were the ones that stopped prematurely while we were having lunch. So let's hope this doesn't happen again. Stopped.
Charging stopped.
Oh man.
What is happening today? Should we try the other plug?
Yeah.
Or, yeah, let's try the other plug before we plug in.
This one, right? On the other side?
Yeah, on the right side.
We might have to angle it, but let's see.
Let's see how long the cable is.
Yeah,
is there
I
a difference in the
wonder-
cable?
So originally EA had these white covers on the cables when they first started, and then at some point they started installing the black ones. It might be that the black ones are a newer generation, where maybe some stuff with the liquid cooling was fixed. So this could indicate that these cables are newer. This is just speculation, I don't know. Oh, we're getting 272 kilowatts.
The best what we have seen so far on our trip.
Yeah.
Nice. Hey everyone, we just got back to the car. It's now 6:42, so we had an extended lunch break. And luckily everything worked. So we have been charging to 99% state of charge. We're doing 7 kilowatt, so that's not all anymore. And I'm going to unplug us from the EA station. You can see we charged here 111 kilowatt hours. Hey everyone, we just crossed into the next state, which is Iowa, and we did originally plan to go further, but maybe quick recap, where have we been so far? We drove 365 miles since our last charging stop. We used 92 kilowatt hours of the battery.
Yeah,
We see a risk in that.
Dealer with a single tritium 75 kilowatt station, and we don't know if the station works or if it's even open at 1:40 a.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So we decided to call it a night here and sleep at the hotel now. And then tomorrow morning we'll see how much phantom drain the car had overnight. Then we'll decide if we still attempt to go there, or there's another Electrify America station, I think a mile or two down the road.
Yeah, not Electrify America. It's another small network with, I think, ABB or BTC chargers, but here at the exit. So that would be our backup. If we do that, we do have a little bit of our downer because we didn't make use of the full battery, which we recharged to, I think, 98% or 99% the last Electrify America station. So I think overall, this day, a lot of miles or kilometer driven.
A lot of setbacks.
And a lot of setbacks. And that's why we thought, let's call it a day and get to bed, rest, and with fresh energy, tomorrow we decide where to go to. Even so, if you don't make it to the dealer station, you can still make it in 7 charging stops, which is really good.
Yeah.
So, peace, good out, good night.
This charger actually has a note. Iowa has a note for dealership work. There's no release time where they have sent us a note for service at their dealership, which is going to affect their charger. But they did not give me a time in which they will be finalizing their work. Interesting. Since I do have a note here for service, but no release date, I would be weary to give you the full green light, of course, for heading on over there.
Okay, understand. Can you see?
Yeah, but that's safety.
Just out of curiosity, can you see in the back end when the last successful session was on that charger?
Yep, the last successful session was the 9th, which was 9 days ago.
Okay, got it. All right, yeah, that sounds a bit risky. Then we'll probably charge before then already.
Gotcha, yeah. The station is online, but it has not been used.
So we just called the charge point operator Red E, which is the CPO for the Carl Chevrolet location in Stewart, Iowa. And it's a 75 kilowatt tritium unit. He did confirm that it's 24/7 publicly accessible. That was one of our worries, whether the dealer lot would be blocked outside of opening hours. But he also said that the last charging session was on August 9th, which is 9 days ago. And on the 10th, a service note was filed, which has not been completed yet. So it does sound risky.
That sounds really risky. But maybe two findings. One, they do have more information. There's a 24/7 service, and the person was really helpful, which I think was really valuable for us now.
Yeah.
Maybe the improvement, especially if they have a service note, that should be displayed in their app. Yeah. Also, it's helpful to know that this station is 24/7 available, that they also know.
They didn't have any opening hours in the app.
Yeah. And for us, it would also have been a confident boost if the information about the last session would also be shown in the app.
Yes.
So we are just rolling into the next charging station, and we have slept, as we said, the night in the hotel, and since yesterday we did 366 miles with 93 kilowatt hours used. We decided against going to the dealer and now went to a mid-American energy company.
Yep. These are
And they are part of the Shell Recharge backend.
These are BTC 150 kilowatt chargers. So we just preconditioned the battery a little bit on the drive over from the hotel, and we'll see first how we pay, and then second what kind of charging rate we can get. We have to be fast.
Don't lose time looking for a station ID.
Yeah.
Okay,
Initiating.
initiating. Switch. And we are still waiting. Waiting. Connected. Yes.
And we're charging. And we can monitor the app from the charge point, the session from the charge point app.
Let's
And we're
see.
getting full power, 147 kilowatts.
It's perfect. Now, for comparison to yesterday, the FreeWire only delivered, I think, 500 volt, and here we got
To 1,000.
up to 1,000. What is important must not only be the dispenser, but also the power units to deliver those output powers. Anything else said?
No, let's go get some coffee.
Yeah, let's get coffee because we're here at the gas station, so a little bit of infrastructure. See you later. Okay, we have reached 98% state of charge. We added 147 miles one after we plugged into the other connector or the other charging station, and we're charging at the moment at 8 kilowatts, which is not a lot anymore. So we would need another 15 minutes to 100%, but I think we're confident, right? Go to the next station.
I don't know, you looked up how far it is. How many miles do we have to go?
420 miles. If you look at the estimated distance, what the car is telling us, we have 454 miles. So we should be good to go.
Okay. Sounds good then. Hey guys, we're in Des Moines, Iowa now. We're gonna exit here in a little bit to take some lunch. It's 12:28 p.m. right now on Sunday. Afterwards we have about another 350 miles to go to charge in, I think it's in Highland, Indiana. We had a bit of a struggle choosing our next charging station destination there because there weren't really any good, fast, reliable options in the stretch of highway that we were looking at. There were a couple of car dealership stations, some of which are just closed Sunday, so not open to the public. And then there's a local Go EVin network, like a Indiana state-sponsored network together with local utility companies. And they deployed mostly tritium chargers. And they don't have the best plug share ratings. A lot of them seem to be out of order or frequently have issues. Some of you may know that plug share also, that tritium also recently went bankrupt, so there might be issues with parts and service support for those stations. But we found one that, at least when we checked, the mobile app seems to have successful charging sessions today and recently. So we're going to try that one. If not, we have a fallback station 2 miles away off the highway at a Hyundai dealer that's operating 2 charge point stations, one of which is allegedly broken. The other one should be working and be accessible on a Sunday. So we have 2 semi-good options and about 350 miles to go after lunch.
Hello people, we are just arriving with, as usual, a really low state of charge. We have 3 miles left and we are just arriving at the charger.
We're at the Indiana Welcome Center. We just crossed from Illinois into the state of Indiana.
Warm welcome from Indiana. There is the charger already visible and a Polestar 2 is charging, interestingly.
And it's nice pull-through charging. We already checked on plug share. These are actually tritium 150 kilowatt units. We have to figure out how much speed we actually get, if it's shared between the 2 units or what's going on.
Looks good, 150. Let's maybe do a quick trip summary.
Let me pull back.
So since our last charge, we did 432 miles and we used 102 kilowatt hours, which is a lot. And we made a trip efficiency of 4.2.
Let's see if the card reader works.
But the fun thing is we don't know what we would pay now.
Oh yeah, there's no price display if you use the card reader, huh? And it says present card. Oh, connectivity. Okay, we hear contactors closing. Finished. Please return your plug.
Okay. Let's return the plug.
Starting, please wait, present card. Okay, maybe I need to work on my Shell recharge account reset. So maybe we do a cut here while I do that.
Okay, see you later. Okay, we just pulled back the car a little bit because the driver is of the Polestar is at 97% and he should be finished soonish. And he said he charged with credit card.
Oh, okay. So this seems like it did receive the payment.
Let's plug in the Lucid and hope we are getting the power.
Heavy cable.
Cable is heavy. It's probably a liquid cool cable. Plugged in. And now press start.
Okay.
Yes, it's working.
It seems to be working.
Finish, please.
Okay. You know what? This could be an issue between specifically the Lucid and these tritium chargers.
No.
I hope not, because then we're stranded, but
this is getting close.
let's try again. Use app or type your code below to authenticate. Okay, let's try the app again.
Maybe we did the wrong flow. But it didn't say like how it's going to work here.
They're starting this session ID connector 2 from the Shell Recharge app. We do hear contactors closing.
App says we're charging. 0% state of charge, 0 kilowatt. Ah, no, it's ramping up.
Oh yes, it's charging. Yes, okay.
It's working.
Okay, check. Okay. So yeah, this is probably a good moment to talk about what all is involved to make charging work. So what we see here is the final charging station, but there's a lot of companies and components that have to work together to make this charger charge this car. So obviously you see the enclosure here, which is by the manufacturer Tritium, which is an Australian company. But there's tons of hardware components that come together, right? So there's a payment terminal provider, there's a power module provider, there's a cable provider. These are all different companies that deliver parts to the factory where Tritium assembles these chargers. Also there's firmware, kind of like an operating system, something like Android, that runs on the charger itself, which might be made by Tritium or might be made by another company. And then there's the cloud backend that communicates to all the chargers and authorizes the payment. So in this case, the Shell Recharge backend. And we actually have companies supporting us on our trip that fall in some of these categories. So one of them is Siri Electromotive from India, which is the only EV charging startup in India that has a complete proprietary hardware software stack, and they make DC chargers and AC chargers in India. We also have Pionix from Germany supporting us, which is making a safe and highly reliable EV charger firmware stack. So something that would, for example, power this charger, and it's based on an open source core. So that ensures, interoperability with a wide number of cars. So there could have been an issue here where maybe this Tritium charger has never been tested with this Lucid, just because the Tritium engineers didn't have time to fly to the US, or they didn't have a Lucid available in Australia where they're based. But with an open source common base layer, it's much easier to get compatibility to a wide number of cars or charger backends. And then we also have another company supporting us, which is S44 out of New Jersey, and they provide custom software solutions and development for charging networks. So for example, they recently helped another charging network in the US update its mobile app for EV drivers and transition its backend to a new OCPP version.
Hey all, we just came back from dinner and got back to the Tritium charging station. There's also another EV driver now charging here at the station, but because from like 75% we weren't limited anymore, so everything worked fine. The charging station didn't interrupt, which was good after the starting hassle. And now we have another drive for about 380 miles to Ohio, and there we are going to check in to the next charging session. Maybe quick information what we have seen now in the app. Also interesting for the Shell Recharge app that we're using. We got updates about every 5 minutes, so the frequency was a little bit lower, but it gave us confidence while eating our dinner that the charging session is going on. And we also got the current energy that has been charged, the current cost level, and the power level that we are receiving. So all is good so far. And now let's head back into the car. And so we're now at 96% state of charge. We got another 442 miles. That means the next leg is really relaxing for us because we have about 389 miles. Okay, quick report. We just arrived at the EVgo station of GM Energy and located at a Pilot J location. And we did a total of 382 miles and used 100% at 100 kilowatt hours, and it's now 4:44. I just dropped off Yannick at the hotel where he checked in, and I'm getting the car to charge because we want to head to New York to do the last leg, the 7th leg, because this one is our 7th charging stop. Connector closing once more, and it started. So we should see full power here, 295. Nice, it's a new record. And estimated cost coming. Yes, energy is charging. So it's getting. So everything looks good. See you tomorrow. Hello and good morning, people. We just came back from the hotel to the charging station, and we are actually at the first Navi funded site here. And it's also the first site with a Canopy that we have been charging at. So it's like a prestige site, you could say, of GM Energy, Flying J, and the stations are actually operated and powered by EVgo. And we have been charging the car, the Lucid, to 100% during the night. They are actually Delta units and can provide 350 kilowatts. And it's also possible to charge 2 vehicles at the same time. I'm not sure if they can provide up to 350 kilowatt each. I guess not. And it has been...
It's shared.
It's shared.
Yeah.
And you have a pole through, that's nice if you have a trailer. And you have the roof that protects you from rain, and it's lighted up, so it feels much more secure during night. And now we plug out the vehicle and are off to go.
How did we pay here last night?
We used the ChargePoint app.
Got it.
Because I wanted to remote monitor the session that is actually working. We haven't had so good experience so far during the trip with interrupted sessions, and that worked all good.
Cool. All right, we're all ready and charged up in Ohio. We did 2,416 miles on the trip so far. We used 601 kilowatt hours, and our average efficiency was 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good, especially with the 21-inch rims. And now our final stretch to the famous Red Bull garage in New York. We're going another 387 miles, and we're expected to get there in the afternoon. We might hit some rush hour traffic, so we'll see how that affects efficiency. And we'll check back in with you guys along the way, and obviously when we get there. Hey everyone, it's now 6:10 p.m. Eastern on Monday. And Julius, where are we right now?
We are on the final miles before rolling into New York. Traffic has been picking up a little bit, but isn't too bad. And yeah, Nick, what are our stats so far before we finalize the trip?
So right now we have 17 miles to go to New York. We did 373 miles since the last charge. We had, I think, 1 or 2 bio breaks in there, but other than that, we've been straight driving from that EVgo station earlier, and we used 93 kilowatt hours so far. Efficiency has been really good on this trip, even though it's been raining a little bit. And we just looked at our total trip stats, and we also converted them to European units just to make this
a little bit more inclusive.
Yes, exactly. So where are we right now? When I did the math a couple of minutes ago, we were at 2,780.5 miles for the total trip distance since the Portofino Hotel in Redondo Beach, LA. We used 691 kilowatt hours, which gives us a total efficiency of 4.0 miles per kilowatt hour. We had 4,474.8 kilometers, same energy, so that gave us an efficiency of 15.5 miles per kilowatt hour over almost 4,500 kilometers of distance, including height difference and differing weather and temperatures. All right, we're on the home stretch. It's 6:51 p.m. on Monday. We are about to turn into East 31st Street in Manhattan, to the Red Bull garage. We did 2,806.6 miles so far in the trip. I think Google Maps said it's 2,800, so it seems like we took a couple of detours there, a couple of miles.
A little bit of charging stops, hotels, and bio breaks.
Yeah. And how do you feel?
I feel good. I'm feeling relieved.
Yes.
The last miles here in New York are probably most stressful to drive.
Yeah.
Everything else was more auto cruising.
Yep.
With the highway assist, so really comfortable. But here it's totally different. Feels more like home.
Yeah.
Feels like driving
Munich,
in Germany.
And here it is, the Red Bull garage. We made it. Cannonball complete. Let's pull in front of the Genesis, maybe?
In front of the Genesis?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, just here.
Yeah, perfect. Easy spot.
We made it. Cannonball complete. And
nice. And the record is set.
The record is set. Okay, everyone out there, the record the world record to cross the United States, LA to New York City, or vice versa, in an electric vehicle is 7 charging stops.
7 stops.
7 charging stops in 2,800 miles. Sir, congratulations.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure setting the record with you.
It got really funny.
Yep.
And really interesting.
Yep.
A lot of experiences.
Yep.
Especially also for me. Completely different world here, charging in the US.
Yep.
Some work to be done.
Yep.
That's maybe the story for the last part of the update.
Yep. We will do a full recap, talk about everything that happened, all the stats. And now we have dinner plans with a friend here in Manhattan.
Good. Okay, here's another shot of the Lucid Air in front of the Red Bull garage in New York, Manhattan. And this is also the perfect timing to thank once more our sponsors and tell you a little bit more what they are about.
Yeah, so thank you to Ziri Electromotive. They are a startup out of India. They do AC and DC chargers. Check them out. The links are in the description. And thank you to our second sponsor, which is?
The second sponsor is Pionix from Germany. Their product is a charger firmware and it's distinguished through an open source core and thereby highly reliable and compatible with various EV models across the world. And the third one is S44 Energy.
S44 Energy, they're based here in New Jersey. We're actually going to meet them now. They provide custom software development services for charging networks. So they can help you create a driver-facing EV mobile app, kind of like the ones that we used on our trip, or they can help you develop a backend, a cloud backend to manage charging stations in your network. So yeah, thank you again to all the sponsors. This was an amazing experience, amazing trip. And I can't believe we made it. We are at the Red Bull garage in New York with the Lucid Air.
High five on that one.
Hey guys, so you join us here on the second day in New York. We're at the hotel right now. We just had breakfast. We had a good night's sleep. And this is going to be a recap video of the whole Cannonball trip. We got some notes here, we got some insights, some takeaways that we want to share with you. So to start off, just to recap, we did the northern route through the US from LA to New York City. So that means we left the Portofino Hotel on Friday morning in Redondo Beach. We drove through California into Las Vegas, Nevada, into a brief stretch of Arizona, then into Utah, Colorado, then Nebraska, then we went into Iowa, Illinois, we passed Chicago, went into Indiana, then Ohio, Pennsylvania, and then New York State, and we arrived Monday evening around 6:30, 7 p.m. In Manhattan at the Red Bull garage. The vehicle, as you guys saw, we took a 2022 model year Lucid Air Grand Touring, which is, I think, the longest range EV you can buy. The Lucid Dream Edition technically had 520 miles of range, but you can't buy that anymore. That was a limited edition. So the Grand Touring normally has 516 miles of range, EPA rated, but that's with the 19-inch Aero wheels. We had 21-inch wheels on the car that we had, so the range and the ride comfort was a little bit impacted by that, but still a super efficient vehicle with a large 112 kilowatt hours battery. We were able to get some pretty high charging rates when the infrastructure supported it. So one of the Electrify America stations, I think we got 270 kilowatts peak charging rate with preconditioning. I think that car can do 300 plus under ideal conditions, but 270 kilowatts is still pretty good. Then a high voltage battery vehicle, so the battery voltage is 800 or 900 volts depending on the state of charge. So that means it needs a high voltage DC charger to match that. So Tesla's charging network doesn't support high voltage at the moment, and some other stations, for example, the FreeWire battery boost charger that we hit, also don't support that. In those cases, the Lucid has an onboard booster that boosts up the voltage, but then the power is limited to around 45 to 50 kilowatts. So that's why we try to generally avoid Tesla charging stations. With the FreeWire station, we kind of weren't aware that it's limited to 500 volts, so we ran into that issue.
Driving was super smooth, even so we targeted for maximum range. We also used the air conditioner, which made it comfortable. Also during the rides in Utah, Nebraska, where we had really high temperatures on the outside. So we didn't need to sweat, and that was really comfortable. Also
passenger seats, the recline is insane, and the legroom is really great. It's almost like you're in a business class airplane seat.
That felt great.
Really good for napping for the passenger. Also want to shout out the highway assist system in the Lucid Air. Really comfortable. We usually, had speeds between 60 and 70 miles per hour, and the system was pretty good. Sometimes when you go past an exit, it wants to follow the exit and leave the highway briefly, then you have to correct the steering.
Key hard facts: we used 697 kilowatt hours for the 2,800
6 miles?
6 miles.
Yeah.
6 we needed additionally for getting to chargers or hotels.
Yeah.
And our average efficiency.
Average efficiency was 4 miles per kilowatt hour, which is really good.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of about 15.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers for the European EV drivers, which is insanely good efficiency, especially. Yeah, so do you want to talk about what the classic Cannonball is and all that?
Classic Cannonball is about the shortest time that includes charging and driving for electric cars or fueling for IC cars from LA to New York or vice versa. And usually it's done in one consecutive run. So with an ICE, that time is about 25 hours and 39 minutes. And it was set during COVID because for an ICE, the traffic really matters. That can cost you additional hours if it's bad timing.
Yeah.
And for electric cars, which we are more interested about, the record was set by Ryan from the Kilowatt. I think
42 hours and 17 minutes. It was a long-range Model S.
Then there was another record actually for a CCS1 based vehicle.
That was by Kyle Connor from the Out of Spec YouTube channel. He set that record with a Porsche Taycan EV. It was, I think, around 44 hours. And then
what was our record about?
Yeah, so we
once more recap and also give you the stats, which you're probably excited about. At least we are.
So we saw a gap in the record world, which was the least number of charging stops to cross the US on the Cannonball route. So we wanted to do charging stops. So this means just as long as possible stretches of just driving. And we did the math initially and we thought we could kind of do it in 6 charging stops. That was a little bit more challenging with the 21-inch rims than the 19-inch rims. And then, as you guys saw on the trip, we had a challenge with the FreeWire boost charger that overheated in Colorado, and that basically cost us 1 additional stop. So we did it in 7 stops. So that, I think, is the world record for crossing the US in an EV.
It is.
So congratulations again, sir.
Thank you. And to give you a benchmark on our driving for each leg, so between each charger, we did a driving time of between 5 to 6 hours. We always aim for 400 miles at least.
400 plus,
400 plus. You need to go a little bit further than 400 miles on average. And Cannonball record for
on
time, you drive between 2 hours max, I think.
Between charging stops.
And that means you are much more frequently charging, and that's also kind of the trade-off that you're doing here with electric vehicle long-range trips. You can go for fewer charging stops and longer charging breaks, or shorter charging breaks, faster driving. Yeah.
So they did, I think, on their Cannonball runs, they did between 16 and 20 something stops.
Yeah.
So a lot higher. You want to talk about the different stops that we did, like which charging networks, which chargers, which locations?
Briefly summarize, because we have showed you also the stops. We charged not only at Electrify America, which probably the most US-based charging expert would expect, but we didn't aim for the highest charging speed, so we were a little bit more flexible about which network we can choose. We did start with Electrify America in Utah, in St. George, also to list you a little bit more the hardware aspects, because we want to go deep into also some pros and cons, and that is also related to some manufacturers and backend systems used. That was an ABB charger. Then we continued and used the Volvo Starbucks charger. It was actually a charge point charger in Grand Junction.
In Colorado,
In Colorado. The next one, the third stop, was the FreeWire charger in Julesburg, Colorado. And that was operated and powered by the EV Connect backend. I think it was operated or owned by a local utility company.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so there we had the option to go to an Electrify America station that was maybe 30 miles closer to the Colorado stop.
Yep.
And we decided to really go for it and push and just use that FreeWire because there had been positive plug share check-ins for that station very recently. And then as you guys saw, we arrived there at peak heat. The station overheated, didn't want to charge anymore, and it cost us a stop. Yeah. And then, but I think before that happened, it gave us like 15% battery. So then we luckily had enough to make it to another Electrify America station down the road in Nebraska. Because if the FreeWire station had just straight failed us, we would have been stuck. We would have either had to get a tow truck or probably wait till the night till the charger cools down and could charge again. Yeah. Stop was that Electrify America charger in Ogallala, Nebraska. It was also an ABB charger that was capable of up to 350 kilowatts. So because we had 15% or so in the battery, we preconditioned before going there. We got 270 kilowatts peak charging speeds, and that was a flawless stop. There was no issues, no premature stops, pretty good speeds. Yeah. We had some Subway at the Walmart there. And then we continued on to Iowa, to Avoca, Iowa. We charged at a Casey's gas station location, and the charger there was operated by Mid-American Energy, which is like a local gas and electric company, and it was on the Shell recharge backend. It was a BTC charger. I think that one went fine too. You guys will have seen the video by now. Yeah. And then the next one was a little bit risky again. We arrived with, I don't know, a couple miles, like 3 miles left.
I think we had 3 miles left. We knew that there's a backup charger within 2 miles.
2 miles away, yeah.
And the plug share ratings of that location were below 5. Over a scale up until 10. It's usually really helpful if in the applications there's the status that shows you like when was the last charging session. Yep. We did kind of reverse engineer that through the dynamic status to give us a little bit more confidence that they are working.
Yep. Yeah, so we showed up there. It was a Go EV Indiana site. It was also on the Shell recharge backend. And the hardware was a Tritium PK 150 kilowatt unit. There were 2 of them actually. One just didn't work at all. We tried starting with credit card. We tried starting with the Shell Recharge app. It didn't work. The other one, there was someone charging, but luckily those units power share. So on the 2 CCS1 cables, you can get up to 75 kilowatts each, or 150 kilowatts to one cable. So we were able to use the second cable, start charging. We were there for an hour and a half or so and had dinner, and then we're able to continue on.
And then last but not least, I think that was like the flagship location that we visited during our Cannonball run, was the GM Energy and Flying J location, also located at a gas station. The charger hardware was actually from Delta. Was 350 kilowatt units, and they were powered by the EVgo backend, and it was located in Hubert in Ohio. And that was also really nice stop. It had the canopy with the lighting. So wrap it up the trip. I think that's the most interesting part, because we have experience in Europe, we have experience in the US. We know a little bit what is happening behind the curtain. So I'm sure we have some interesting insights for you to share, and also some assumptions or interpretations that we made based on our findings. And do you want to start to give?
First thing we have to say, there is sufficient coverage of fast chargers now pretty much along the whole interstate highway system in the New York. I think usually it's between 30, 40, 50 miles between each fast charger. So in general, that density is pretty good. Second point that was good was the user guidance on the charger display was very good. So at least for the major CPOs like ChargePoint, Electrify America, EVgo, they have pretty custom UI components with things like showing you the price that you pay if you pay via credit card. Also having like little FAQ sections about how to charge and do some basic troubleshooting. So that was great. And do you want to talk about the cross promotions?
Yeah, cross promotions is really an interesting point. Also something I have observed more frequently to be present at the stations in the US. Like gas stations put up stickers promoting their products that you can get in the shop.
then additionally you can earn reward points if you charge there.
The next thing is we want to give another shout out to a better route planner that we used for a lot of the pre-planning and optimization. It's very granular in what you can set. It really has, you know, kind of that expert level of possible settings. And yeah, in our case specifically, we kind of stopped using it after the first third of the trip or so, just because we noticed that it didn't have very accurate consumption models for the Lucid Air, which is probably because the Lucid Air just doesn't have any telematics API that people like Smart Car can integrate with. It doesn't take an OBD dongle. So it's very hard for users to submit like live and accurate consumption data to a better route planner that they can use to improve their model. So it's still an alpha car in the database at a better route planner.
Maybe that's one point also for the industry. I think those open telemetrics APIs for electric vehicles are something that every car OEM should provide to give also third-party services that fit maybe specific needs of a specific customer group, a product that allows and eases them to do their charging and electric journey.
Yep. And then on the second half of the trip, we also noticed that a better route planner didn't actually have all the point of interest information for charging stations. So for example, that Tritium 150 kilowatt station in Indiana, I think was not in the database in a better route planner. So then the route wasn't as optimized anymore for maximum of miles between stops as we liked. So we had to do our own route planning on top of a better route planner.
And the only available data was really the user-generated data on PlugShare. I think that has the best coverage of all chargers, but also those might not be correct or up to date if a CPO expands their network. This data must be shared from CPO networks.
And then kind of coming to the bad experiences along the trip, as we said, you know, with a small battery, sometimes you can still be challenged between charging stops. So that's something to keep in mind of. So we need, you know, both reasonably priced cars with reasonably sized batteries, but we also need reliable infrastructure in short density. And today, you know, if you look at gas stations, there's usually one every 20 miles or so. So we just need more density. We need reliable chargers. Talking about hardware reliability.
So what we noticed during the trip is that heat is kind of your enemy. First of all, it drives down the efficiency because you need a lot more cooling during fast charging sessions.
Yeah, you need cooling on the charger, on the car for charging. The cable is liquid cooled usually, and then you need cooling for the cabin.
And especially in those states where we have had above 100 Fahrenheit or above 39 degrees Celsius, the chargers were really struggling. So the FreeWire stopped working completely.
It was an Electrify America site where the stations were derated to 50 kilowatts, and on one of the chargers, one of the cables just didn't work at all, the other one worked. So
that would also be an improvement point from our route planning. We should have started earlier in the morning and tried to do the first charging stop like somewhere in the morning, and then the second charging stop in the evening, but not during lunchtime. But again, this shouldn't be an issue that the user wants to tackle and try to plan their route accordingly. That must be solved and properly tested by the charging networks, ultimately by the charging hardware producers.
The next point was sometimes there's no way to remotely monitor a charging session, which doesn't really matter if you're confident in it, but at the current situation, we had trust issues in our charging infrastructure. So we wanted to, while we were away at a restaurant eating lunch, remotely make sure that the charging station was still running, so that in case it stopped early, we could run back and recharge it in order to not lose too much time. Because we didn't have access to the mobile app for the Lucid Air, we weren't able to do that in all cases. And the same goes if you just pay with credit card and either your vehicle doesn't come with a mobile companion app like some older EVs, or it's a rental car where you don't have access to the mobile app with even some of the newer EVs. That's a pretty common use case, I would say, where it's already solved on some chargers in Europe. For example, the Kempower units have this, where they just show you a little QR code that you can scan with your phone, and you get forwarded to like a mobile website where you can monitor just that specific session on that charger.
that could be one solution to tackle that problem. Another alternative solution would be that you, for example, share dynamically the information about the current state of charge at that station, similar to how you share the dynamic status of the station. Then all those information help to have more confidence as a user, and also probably ultimately to help that users know when to get back to their car and make the stations available to other users again.
Yeah, so that's one thing that would have been ideal if we, in PlugShare, we could find the station, we could see user reviews, we could see pricing and opening times and even pictures. And on some networks, we also saw the dynamic status, is it currently occupied or not. But then it would be great if we could even see what the state of charge is of the car that's currently charging there. Whether that's our own car while we're having lunch, we can see how far it's gotten and if it's still charging or not. But also if there's only one working charger, like in that FreeWire use case.
Or in the Tritium case.
Or in the Tritium case, then we could see, okay, they're at 98%, so they're leaving soon, so we can head there.
That's also maybe resolving a little bit the discussion about wait times and should you drive to a station and do you need reservation? No, actually I think the best is if we have a high throughput, that's also better as a network. And maybe that helps for users to know when to go to a station.
So if you check out our newsletter article on readelectricavenue.com, that's titled Trip Planning Masterclass. This is about the Tesla charging network and the trip planning and the Tesla navigation system. They have all this data available because they are both the charging network and the car manufacturer and the navigation provider. So they actually do use that information to predict wait times at charging at their charging stations. Anything else we should cover?
Yeah, there was one more case at the Tritium charger in Hammond that we tried to start the session with the app. We tried to start it with a credit card, but the charging sessions just didn't start. And unlike on the FreeWire, where we got the feedback that because of heat, I think, the charging stopped. The Tritium charger didn't give us a meaningful feedback. What is the problem? So we tried 3 times. We didn't get it going. And because we saw that the other station can also be used simultaneously, we just went to that station. We even didn't bother to call the CPO hotline because we would expect that there's some meaningful or some smart mechanism to self-heal the station if it's possible. But having a feedback is also giving you a little bit more confident about the charging infrastructure, or even maybe then call the operator and tell them, I have this problem, that's what the station is saying to me, can you help me fix that?
Yeah, so there is actually an initiative by the ChargeX consortium in the US, by the US government, to establish minimum required error codes in all chargers, similar to the OBD error codes that cars have had since the 90s. So that would have been really helpful here if there's just some minimum set of required error codes that then can be translated into like an easily digestible HMI message that could have told us why exactly this Tritium charger was not working at the time, and if it's a kind of a thing where we should keep trying, or we should just move on. Cool. Wrapping up here?
Wrapping up?
Yeah. So thank you again for watching. This has been a blast doing this trip.
Tune in and subscribe for more videos to follow. We did also make some bonus videos when we were in New York. Leave us a feedback in the comments if you liked the videos or have also things to improve for us. And
check out the newsletter at readelectricavenue.com.
Bye-bye.